And he's a warrior, man. He's incredible physical toughness and mental toughness. I mean, just and he had no issues last week, but he's still a little sore. Really proud of him. I mean, he's a guy that's just got a lot of confidence, and it's just you can see the chemistry. It's amazing what happens when you make plays. It's amazing how that ball just finds you. It's like a magnet. So I'm really proud of him.
He was a pretty good high school basketball player.
Yeah.
Kind of made a trip. Do you ever? I mean, if a guy's a good wide receiver, but do you ever see the carryover of a skill set from basketball into playing receiver?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, he was more of a basketball guy. He didn't really make up his mind. He kind of made that full commitment kind of in high school, I guess, that all right, looks like football is going to be my best path. But honestly, the best receivers we've had have been great basketball players. All of them. Because it's when you play basketball, it's natural to transition, and you're not just a straight line guy. You're always changing direction. You're double moving. It's natural to high point balls. It's a natural thing, and I mean, you can pretty much all of them were basketball players across the board. Even if they didn't necessarily play, I don't think Hunter played basketball his senior or junior year in high school, but I've played a lot of basketball with Hunter. He's pretty good. He can play. He's explosive. He can jump. He can change direction. His jump shot's just average, but but he can finish. At the rim. So I think it's a natural. And then we've had some guys that really were more basketball players than receivers. Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Nuke Hopkins, that really had to develop. They were behind as a receiver, but they really developed. That's the thing about Tyler is that's what really shocked me more than anything about him is just how polished he was. From the opening practice, it was pretty obvious that okay, man, this kid gets it. So proud of him.
Coach Lambert is in his second year as their defensive coordinator. I guess he was there under Grove as well, but 4 sacks a game. How have you seen their defense improve under him?
Yeah, structurally they're similar in a lot of ways, but they, I think it all goes back to Coach Clausen, man. I mean, these I don't think it matters who coaches there. Dave's going to have them guys playing hard. He's going to have them sound. They're going to be well coached, and that's what you see. Guys that get after you up front. We'll probably you're going to get a similar deal as last week. Probably have to catch a lot of movement with these guys, downhill linebackers, and then coverage-wise they'll mix it up. But they're always one of the best groups we play against from a secondary standpoint. They got DBs all over the NFL. Wake Forest does. They got guys everywhere. I mean, they do a really good job, I think, of evaluating guys and then developing them within their system. Coach Lambert, man, I got a lot of respect for him. He's a great coach. He's been around, and he's a head coach as well. And he understands Wake Forest. And again, just when you turn on the tape, it's like rinse and repeat, right? I mean, every year, watch Wake Forest. I mean, they're just a tough, well-coached football team.
With T.J. Parker being as productive as he's been so far, does he remind you of any other freshmen you've had that were really productive early, and what's allowing him to kind of do so much in these first 2 games?
Yeah, well, same thing I would say with Tyler Brown, maturity, number one. I mean, I think you have to really have just an abnormal level of maturity for an 18-year-old, first of all, to be able to prepare and absorb and translate everything that's going on. There's just a lot. The fact that he came in January certainly has helped him because I think he was able to really take advantage of the off-season program. He got a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And but he I think coming from where Central Phoenix City High School, which is a big time program, a bunch of great players. They play at a high level. Coach Nix there does an amazing job. I mean, he had a D-line coach who really, I think, did an awesome job teaching him. He was very advanced technically and mentally coming in here, so that certainly helps him. But it all goes back to his maturity and his just what's inside him. I mean, he's got a will to win, a will to prepare that's unique as a freshman, and it's the same as Tyler Brown, same as Khalil Barnes, same as Peter Woods. That whole group. Some of them you see and you know right now. Some of them you don't. Like let me tell you, Hoffler is going to be a player. Ojebwe, those are kids you hadn't really seen much yet. Jamal Anderson, D. Creighton, Avion, Shelton, Strozier. I mean, we got a whole group of guys. Robert Billings, Kylan Webb. I mean, it's a bunch of guys in that class that we are super, super excited about that I think, some have had more opportunity than others, and TJ's had obviously a little more opportunity just based on our personnel, and he's taken advantage of it. But the one word is maturity. He's just a very mature, focused kid that you would never think is a freshman. And Tyler's the same way.
Dabo, you talked so much about how this team responds and how they should respond. What does response come from? Is that something you practice? Is that how they are as individuals, how they grow up? Or how do you get somebody to respond in the right way?
It's all the above. I mean, I think it's just what we do every day, how we go about our business around here. I didn't even know this until after the game. I'm glad I didn't know it. But I didn't know we hadn't lost back-to-back games in a season since 2011, 13 years. I'm eventually, one of these days, I'm sure that'll happen, and we'll suck. But that's. I mean, to me, there's nothing more that says who we are as a program than that right there. I think maybe Alabama, because I was trying to figure out when Tim was the one that told me it after the game, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't know that going into it, but now I do. So that's not a good thought. But no, I mean, I think there's nothing that says more who we are than that right there. 13 years. I mean, it just means we respond. We keep moving. We've always talked about having a windshield mentality around here. Whether you have a big win or you have a tough loss, you know what? Hey, we got to. It's eyes forward. We got to move forward. We can't live with our eyes in the rearview mirror, right? I mean, nobody cares. I mean, if y'all get in the car and y'all drive home with your eyes in the rearview mirror, you're going to run in a ditch. So, I just think it's culturally who we are, and all of them. It's who comes through the door. It's what's happening within the walls. It's how we practice. It's how we meet. It's how we process success, process disappointment. All of those things I think is a part of that. But that's probably as good a stat as you could have. Because again, it's not always going to be I wish we never lost a game ever. It'd be great, but you wouldn't. If you never had a bad day, you wouldn't know what a good day is.
You talked about Nate and Antonio that they're going to work out on Monday. How did that go?
It was good. They looked pretty good last night. So today will be a big day because we'll load them up a little bit more today with some pads and kind of see how it goes. But I thought they both moved around pretty good last night. So, I mean, we're hopeful, but nothing definite right now.
You just classified as day-to-day right now?
Yes. Yes.
Is there any thought in terms of there being a bye week that it could be beneficial to give them extra time? Does that factor at all?
We just need to win this game. I mean, whatever it takes to win the game. If they're ready to play, they'll play. We don't have any. We don't have the luxury of looking ahead. We just got to lock in on what gives us the best chance to win this week. And again, we certainly wouldn't put them in harm's way or anything like that. But if no thought of, well, we can win this game, let's hold this guy. No, this is all hands on deck. We got to do everything we can to find a way to win this game.
Saying that, Myson Kelly, what do you?
Yeah.
I think twice now. So
He's got 2 more games. He's got 2 more games, and we're going to try to hold him. That's our plan. He's actually got a little bit of he's going to have a little surgery as well, which we know, and we know we've kind of got timeline on when we're probably gonna have to do that, but he's got a couple more games, and actually got in there, and he's moving around pretty good. He's practicing. Had a really good practice last night. As a matter of fact, he was one of the guys last night that just jumps out, and he's another guy that I would put with Tyler Brown. He is a very mature kid. He is a baller, and the guy's conscientious. He can do so many things. He just hasn't had the opportunity yet, and he played in a game, then he was out, a little injury, and then we're going to hold him. And then with Antonio, we said, all right, well, let's go ahead and play him a game here or there, just give us a backup right there. But I'm super excited about Tink. I mean, this kid is going to be a good player for us. He's going to be able to do a lot of things as he goes, but same thing. He's got a high level of maturity, and he's a winner. Kid's a winner. Really, really like him.
What's his surgery?
He's got a something that he's kind of dealt with since high school that we'll have to fix. Nothing long term or anything like that, but it's something that's going to have to happen. And we've got it set up to where, because we want him to be back for off season, January, spring training, and all that stuff. So we've got a good plan in place there.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
You said you were talking about Gabe, you referenced Clausen and stuff, and what about that coaching staff? I mean, there's so many veteran guys, Kevin Higgins, etc.
Yep.
And what just makes that staff harder for you guys to prepare?
Yeah, well, Kevin Higgins, first of all, he's one of my favorite people in the coaching profession. I think he's just a great person and a heck of a football coach. In fact, I think he coached Clausen, if I remember correctly. I think Dave told me that. I think Dave played for him at some point, or maybe Dave worked for him.
He definitely was on his staff.
Maybe he worked for Higgins, but they're just they all they all understand who they are, their system. I think they're a bunch of great evaluators, and I think they're a bunch of great teachers that really and I think Dave would be the first one to tell you that's been a huge part of their success at Wake Forest. They have probably out-evaluated some people along the way, and then they have done just an excellent job of developing these guys. But he's just put a great staff together, and those guys obviously like each other. They believe in how they go about doing things. They believe in Wake Forest and what the university stands for, and so just great chemistry and synergy amongst that group. So a good mix. I think Glenn Spencer's on that staff too. He's been around a while and has coached a lot of good players in his day as well.
For the recruiting question, the policy y'all have of once a guy commits, don't visit other schools. Do you remember when you kind of first put that in place, and why do you consider that such an important part of kind of the way y'all do things?
Well, I mean, that's been that way for a long time. So, I mean, we just talk about, I mean, we don't offer a lot of guys, so we talk about what commitment means. Honestly, I try to talk guys out of committing, and so it's a conversation we have, and it's not like something we don't ever talk about, but that's been that way for a long time.
Anything to reflect on being on the verge of number 165?
No, I mean, not right. I mean, I appreciate the question, but not right now. I mean, if it happens, we can talk about it, I guess. But right now, we need to just find a way to win a game, and that's all we need to focus on.
Dabo, I'm curious. October, the start of fall for everybody. We have got fall festivities, pumpkin carving, apple orchards, pumpkin spice. Is there any festivities you like to do outside of football?
Any activities I like to do outside of football?
Yeah, in the fall.
Well, I mean, I don't really have a lot of time. There's a lot of things I like to do, but there's just time is a problem this time of year. I came home, I guess, I don't remember maybe it was Sunday. I don't know, they've been there for a while, but I hadn't really noticed them. But Kath had like 20 little bitty pumpkins laid out in the garage. I don't know what she's doing with them, but I saw them. I think I noticed them Sunday. But yeah, I just don't have a lot of time to do much this time of year other than just I exercise. I like to run. I usually play basketball once a week, work out, run. Go to church. I don't really have much time for anything, but there's a lot I like to do. So I watch football. I like to do that.
Dabo, it's a time of year where the conversation of pink washing and kind of over-leaning into the breast cancer awareness thing and being aware of where your donations are actually going is a conversation that's happening. It's a month that's now as pink as it is orange for Halloween. It's something, though, that you spend a lot of time on. Breast cancer awareness is, obviously, you have your event during the summer, and it's something that's touched you personally, touched so many of your players and fellow coaches. Can you just elaborate on why this is so important and why it's still important to be bringing this awareness and why it's personal for you?
Yeah, well, almost 44,000 women are going to die from breast cancer this year. And probably about 30 women were diagnosed while this press conference was going on. And it's personal. That's the best way I can answer that. I think we're all, as people, we're all shaped by things that we experience in life, right? I mean, we're affected by those things. We all have scars from events in our life. And if you have lost a loved one to cancer, I mean, my dad died of cancer. Lung cancer, and to go back and forth to Greenville and watch him, do chemo and radiation and to be in a room of people, it's not a traumatic thing to deal with, and to watch my father-in-law, who's a pancreatic cancer survivor. I mean, he's still alive. He's a miracle. He's in the 2%. It's crazy. He was diagnosed the same year as my dad. In 2015, and he's still alive. It's incredible, and to what we went through with Lisa, Cass' sister, with breast cancer. She was diagnosed, she beat it, and then it came back, 9-10 years later, and she's got. You have an image of her son Jacob bringing his prom date to the hospital when she's intubated, and these are images that are just forever with you, and the pain that we went through, because Lisa was in the hospital for months, and we watched her just wither. And you got an 8th grade son, you got a junior, senior in high school. For almost 2 years they dealt with this until she passed in 14. And so it's just a traumatic experience. It was just traumatic, devastating, for my in-laws, Kath and her sisters and brother, and then for us, because of breast cancer research that people didn't have back in the day, because her cousin had it as well in California. And the doctors, said, hey, we need to get tested. And I'll never forget, ever, Kath was 35 years old. We were in the middle of the season. And when she had a double mastectomy, because right before we started the season, we went to Greenville to some genetic doctor because she had the test. And I'll never forget that. I'm like, she's healthy as she can be. And, when you get that news, and then, what does that mean? Well, it basically means you got about a 90% chance of developing breast cancer. And we got 3 little boys, and, she made a decision, a very brave decision, and I really believe that, she's with us now. She most definitely, if she hadn't, she would have developed breast cancer. That's what we know based on all these years of research that has been funded. And so it's important because again, we've been shaped by that. I've had several players who've lost their sister, lost their mom, obviously Jeremiah Trotter and what we just dealt with, with this disease, and it's something we're passionate about. And the thing is if it's detected early, you have a great opportunity to beat it. But a lot of times it's not detected early. That's, we've been able to fund 2 mobile mammography buses. We just committed to help fund a 3rd. And, you know, to be able to provide free mammograms to people who probably wouldn't get them otherwise, is saving lives, because it's, again, if you detect it early, you have a good chance. And a lot of women don't. I mean, what we're dealing with Julie Venables right now and what she's going through. I mean, it affects everybody. And so it's just something that, again, to answer your question, why is it's personal. And when we started the foundation in 2010, we really just kind of built the foundation based on things that were personal to us. You know, whether it be drug and alcohol addiction, whether it be educational things like Call Me Mister, the Clemson Life, special needs, and breast cancer. Awareness, research, and as you said, you know, funding. You know, we've been very specific on what we do with the funds to where it goes directly to this community. You know, and it's not just, you know, going off to, and again, there's nothing wrong with those things, but we just wanted to really impact and be hands-on with where the money goes, because there's so many great organizations out there. You know, we've got people on this campus that are doing great research. We've had people at Anderson doing great research. Obviously, the hospitals around here, and then the buses. It's been amazing. You know, and every time I see that bus and see the logo on there, it's really cool. And that's what the All In Foundation's all about. I mean, you know, everybody coming together and trying to use the platform that we have and that we've been blessed with to bless other people. So it's just personal, and it just comes through traumatic experience of dealing with it, and people who've had a loved one and have walked that journey with them, they understand. And if you haven't experienced that, you will. You will. That's sooner or later.
Any additional questions for Coach? Coach, anything else on your end?
Nope.
All right.
Look forward to it.
Thanks,
Thanks, Coach.